G'day, this is Subaru's Great Australian Detour, and I hate it when they put that chemical in the water, so when you have a little... It's a joke. It's a beautiful pink lake on the coast of Western Australia, and it's just one of the things that we'll see this time around. I've come to learn that the open road is still the stuff of legend. It's not another time or another place, it's now, just as it's always been. Only you might have to search a little harder to find it. But there it is, off the freeway, connecting families to towns and stories, and what will become some of our fondest memories. Subaru's Great Australian Detour is a celebration of the long way, of seeing the drive as being just as important as the destination. So instead of racing past the best bits, enjoy the journey. Stop, turn off, take the odd detour. This is Australia, the greatest detour there is. This time around, Subaru's Great Australian Detour is in the west, and we're taking the all-new Solterra, Subaru's all-electric SUV, back into civilization. Eventually. There's no rush. There are things to see and things we don't even know about. And so you know, this is an overseas pre-production model. So some things might be a little different, but it's close to what we'll have in Australia. Well, this is interesting. If you've been following on, we've come down the west coast and we haven't seen much. And even though this is a sand dune, like we're back into farming land and civilization. So that's what we're going to do. We'll see some natural phenomenons, the Pinnacles, which I've only ever read about, but are dying to see. And then Rottnest Island and quokkas and food and jumping out of things, I'm told. Yeah, they're not waving anymore either. So things have changed. Now I do want to just stop and check something, because the very first thing to do, heard about this pink lake. I want to look at the picture, see if it's worth the detour. I mean, everything's worth the detour, but is it really worth it? Hang on a sec. All right. So that's it. It's all pink. So fingers crossed, that's what it looks like. Should have some romantic music. Siri, something special.
Playing something special.
There is a two-part risk to this excursion to Hutt Lagoon. One is that it looks nothing like the pictures on the intranet, and that would not be a surprise. Two, if we're at the wrong time of year, it's literally 95% empty. So it's just a salt flat. So cross our fingers, hope for the best. That's the whole idea of the detour. G'day mate. This is gonna work because I can see in the clouds ahead, there's a pink tinge and we're nowhere near sunset or sunrise. So that would, yeah. It's pink! It's actually pink! Like properly, and there's a stack of water in it. Oh, this is cool. So beautiful. A short walk down the sand dunes and the photo of the trip is on. I love it when a plan comes together. So it is most definitely pink and warm and oh my God, incredibly salty, as you'd expect. But they don't mine salt here. They mine the microalgae, and that's what gives it its pink color. And they use that for beta carotene, so your vitamin A's and things like that. But just, isn't it? It's a pack of German tourists over there doing their Instagram photos. So this is the spot. Maybe it's a spot. There is some pretty strong evidence to suggest that the spot is a little further down the road. We're gliding south down the west coast of the country, showing off the all-new Subaru Solterra. It's 3 or so hours to Perth, and we will dawdle past the best bits. Have you heard of Jurien Bay? It's one of the favourite places for West Australians to go on holidays, and I don't know anyone, from the east at least, who's heard of it. So I'm dying to get there. And I know we've swum with lots of things like manta rays and seals, fish on the barrier reef, who's showing off now, but we haven't swum with sea lions. Rawr. Joke. So that's what we're doing in Jurien Bay, sea lions, and finding out why the West Australians like it so much. So Jurien Bay is the new Busselton, and that means almost nothing to half the people in the country on the eastern states. But Busselton was Perth's favourite hotspot, and that's just too busy. So now they come here. It's sea lions, it's crayfish, it's high voltage. That's the name of the boat that we see the sea lions from. Pete's the skipper. Running at a comfortable speed, it's about an hour or so to the sea lions. But of course, there's always more to the story. We're taking a small detour from the Detour. The water clarity, by the way, excitingly, is unbelievable. But this is quite a historic area. So during the Second World War, after 43, when the Japanese flagged their intentions about coming to Australia, they put a communication system all up the west coast. And this is part of it here. It was called the Eyes of Australia. And they were looking out to see the planes and the ships. Interestingly, the Japanese subs would come in here and recharge their batteries, but we couldn't see them. Now that's a very short telling of a big history. Another reason to visit Jurien Bay. Captain Pete, a former crayfisherman, has the place fully sorted. Pete, I feel like I was coming on a sea lion tour, but just arriving, there's a stack more going on here.
There's a heap more. You've got all the terns, you've got the cormorants, you've got the cormorants are right on the end of the island there. They're here all the time. The terns will come and go, especially the fairy terns, because they nest on the beach.
Yeah.
And they'll nest and then they'll move off.
And are they eagles in the middle?
They are eagles. Yes, sea eagles.
Okay.
There's two of them that hang on this island. You've also got the fur seal, which is on the other side.
There's fur seals as well?
Yeah, straight in here on the rock there.
Yeah, it's funny because when pulling up, I'm going, you always go, where are the seals? Where? And then on the beach, there's all these blobs, and that's them.
That's them.
And there must be 80.
Yeah, there would be 80. The last time here was a couple of days back was 96, so there is quite a few there.
Okay.
You've also got all that lagoon over here is all full of coral. From this island all the way to that island, you have coral.
Rightio. And the other thing is the water is just unbelievably clear.
Yeah, and it's very special. This is to the east is the sanctuary zone.
Yep.
So the important thing in this sanctuary zone is the seagrass.
Okay.
Because everything grows in the seagrass, or everything does. Crayfish to little fish to everything does. So it's very important that we don't interfere with that.
Paradise.
It's paradise.
You should get in, mate.
I think you should.
Are you going to get in?
We will have to watch the boat.
The sea lions are wild and curious, especially the pups. Now, if you're lucky, they'll swim around you. And then you'll dive underwater and they'll take off and you'll run out of breath and wish you were a seal. It's really fun. Genuinely good fun. Down there's looking at a hermit crab and there's this seal just comes right up. They're so curious, so beautiful. But there's so much more here. Like there's a whole coral with dives underneath and huge fish, and you can hear the babies yelling out for their mum, "Mama, feed me." It's beautiful. Genuinely beautiful. You hear that? Aww. Whilst not quite Ningaloo or the Great Barrier Reef, the swimming through the coral and caves at Jurien Bay is quite exhilarating. Big fish, big deep breaths, and more often than not, the company of possibly the friendliest pups on the west coast. Yeah, I got a new friend for life. More after this. We're going to go and talk about what the sea lions talk about. I don't actually speak sea lion, but suspect it was something about how lucky we were to be going to the Pinnacles. Part of the plan on this trip was to discover the Solterra together, and what I have learnt is that this is a very solid car, rich in Subaru DNA. So it's solid to protect passengers and the people driving it, but also solid to protect the battery, and it's got excellent visibility. Big windows, which is great because we're going to a place we get to drive through. It's actually the most popular national park in Western Australia, the Pinnacles. Looking forward to this. As soon as you arrive, it's obvious why this place is so popular with tourists. many who day trip up from Perth. You can drive the Pinnacles and look at them from your car, which is great. It's a 4-kilometre track, or you can get out and walk, which is a great idea because it's a pretty amazing spot. I mean, everything is different from every different perspective. Lots of stories about how it all came to be, either from 25 to 30,000 years or 500,000 years. And then there's the stories. Is it from an inland ocean? Are these the gaps between the roots of an ancient forest? Is it part of Africa before we separated? And then the traditional owner stories, they change as well. And I'd love to tell you, but they're not my stories to tell. So if you come, there's lots to learn and definitely lots to discover. You may leave with more questions though, like, why is the sand the consistency of polenta? Just saying. This is Subaru's Great Australian Detour. And once again, West Australia has turned it on for us. A pink lake, Durian Bay, sea lions, history, it's all here, and we're less than 3 hours north of Perth. Good news is, we're heading for Rottnest Island, which is a chance to see something completely different. Also, at Freo, there's a charger, so I'll charge the car up and then enjoy the delights of one of West Australia's favourite holiday destinations. This is Rottnest Island, and it's got a really important place in West Australia's history. So there's a long history. So there's the Indigenous history. So that's the Wodjumup is what it's called for the Noongar people. And they've been here for, well, since time began. They found artefacts on the island that are 40,000 years old. And then it was a really good history, and that history went bad during colonisation. It's a place you can come and find out more about that. And then for the people of Perth, look, it's really special. Like, families would go on a ballot to come and holiday here. It's got literally everything except cars and traffic, but beautiful beaches, and we're going to have just an experience like you won't believe. I'm pretty pumped. The plan for Rottnest is to be 40% sustainable by 2030. Whilst there are some cars on the island, mostly for staff and rangers, you'll quickly get used to the lack of traffic. It's terrific. Invigorating even. Getting around under your own steam is a really lovely change. The best view of Rottnest Island, to see as much as you can, is obviously from the lighthouse. Now that was finished in 1896, but it didn't stop the shipwrecks because this is a treacherous bit of coast. I can see Fremantle from here. You've got the salt lakes, they're beautiful. And the best way to get around is the bike, I reckon. You see tons of them. There's no cars. There is a bus. That's a hop on, hop off. That's a good idea too. Or you can walk. Swim, snorkel. I've seen planes as well. You can jump out of them. It's a secret until later. The bike is good, great actually, but so is the walking. Kate runs the Hike Collective, getting folks like me into the very best bits of the island. So Kate, the west end of Rottnest is quite significant, isn't it?
It is. We are actually at the westernmost point of land on Western Australia. The next landmass to the west of here is actually Madagascar.
So this is your east coast. So if Byron's the east coast version, this is the
west coast. That's it.
Right. So there's literally nothing between here and Madagascar.
Correct.
Beautiful. And Kate was just saying as we were walking that what's good about this is not a lot of people come out. It's actually quite remote for the island.
Yeah, it's a real unique pocket, hidden gem kind of experience. We've got incredible landscapes such as our coastal nature's window here. We've got a 70-year-old osprey nest right behind us.
Yeah, beautiful. And what were you saying about these coral paddocks?
Yeah, so these here are little coral paddocks where the fish keep their families. A little family home.
And every family has their own paddock.
Yeah, it's like their home.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Kate, there is so much going. There's fish over here just lighting up, and then you've got the long-nosed fur seals just, you know, having a day, aren't they? Just chilling and waving to each other and
having a great time. You'd think they're waving to each other and maybe to yourself, but they're actually thermo-regulating their body temperature with their flippers out of the water like that. So they've got a job to do.
We do that though, don't we? Like, don't you, you know, you see them doing we humanise animal behaviour.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're regulating, but they're also waving.
Maybe. We'll
Good.
go with
Good
that.
deal. Let's go with that one. Rottnest has 45 k's of walking trails, and this is Strickland Bay at the western end. And even in summertime, no one comes here. They all stay near the settlement. So this is like one of those small tips. Walk a little further Detour a little harder and you can have literally that beach to yourself. It's stunning. Of course, the view from ground level is only truly understood when you put it in perspective with an aerial view. That is next. Time for Subaru's Great Australian Detour to take off. Literally. Of all the good ideas and all the Rottnest things to do, we're doing this?
Big smiles, mate, and jump straight in there.
When do we strap on together?
Not yet.
Okay.
I can't help you right now.
Okay. Just begin to question everything to the point where you can't question anything. Just gotta go. So I'm in the questioning. Boy, remember to open your eyes occasionally to see just how beautiful Rottnest is from above. Great! I think I love you.
I know I love you.
You've done it. You've done the skydiving.
Absolutely.
What's your favourite part of it?
Oh, look, I think the best part is definitely once the experience, you're out into free fall and you leave your fear behind you in the plane.
Yeah.
So a lot of people feel really nervous, excited, apprehensive in the build up to the experience,
Yes.
and when you're in the plane on the way up.
Yes.
But as soon as you're
You're
out
speaking
that
to me,
door
yes.
and you're out into free fall,
Yeah.
all the fear is gone. It gets left in the plane. You're just in free fall going 200 kilometers an hour, which is terminal velocity, so pretty fast.
Yeah.
And all your worries are left behind.
It's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Like I was actually really quite scared.
Yeah.
And then when you're floating down, it's beautiful. And here we are on the sand again.
It makes
So
you
thanks.
appreciate the ground
Yeah.
a little bit.
No, I loved it. I mean, I think it was amazing. You can do your Rottnest experience in many different ways, like, you know, the old-fashioned way of having picnics, bring your own, or go to the bakery and get a pie. We can do it in style. I'm Andrew.
Tony.
How are you,
pleasure.
Tony? Now,
Welcome aboard, buddy.
and the chance to catch your own crayfish with Aaron on Rottnest cruises. So it is like Deadliest Catch.
Is it heavy? You can say yes.
Oh yeah,
you can say yes.
It's real heavy, Aaron. It's real heavy. Oh, I see colour. I see. 3 in a shell.
Three in a shell. We'll have a look at what we've got here. So this is our Western Rock lobster here that we've got here in WA.
Yeah.
Now, a few different points that I want to kind of show out.
Yeah.
So one, we want to look for a male. Females are fine, but if they've got a tar spot or eggs, they need to go
Not
straight
fine.
back in.
Yeah.
So our first one, if you want to hold this one just at the very back of the carapace,
Yeah.
and you can show everyone just there.
And like those eggs there.
That's it. So that's a tar spot just there, and that's
That's
all
the
the eggs.
What?
Good catch.
So he can go straight back in.
Yeah, she'll have to go-
Sorry, she can go
She
straight
can go
back
straight
in.
back.
All the females go back. Sustainability is paramount.
It is a bit of a surprise, not always a good one, unfortunately.
But that's what I kind of like about it. To be totally honest, I'd much rather that this didn't work out, but the parachuting did.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I agree with you there. I agree with you there.
At last, hello, mate. How'd you like to get in my belly? As much as we'd all like to cook up our own lobster, sometimes it's best left to the experts. So Tony Howell, Executive Chef, this is all a bit much. I'm not even kidding. The smell of that is unbelievable.
You'll get to eat it in a minute.
Yeah.
And it's going to get better.
Yeah.
You know what's so good? West Australian produce is second to none. I believe. I'm not being biased.
Big bias.
I'm not being biased.
No, I don't
at all.
mind if you're biased.
But
I
you
love
know,
it.
like you saw how fresh it is.
Yeah.
You know, you caught that.
Yeah.
The smoke looks beautiful around you too,
Oh
by the way.
my
It's just
God.
setting the scene.
No,
it
but
really
this
is.
I wish you could smell it. It just seems unfair that you can't smell it.
Don't cough.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't cough.
I'm gonna
Cry. Cry's good. Cry's good. And a happy cry.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
And so we're going to do a little bit of butter on here, a little clarified butter.
Yep.
Little scallops, quick season. The thing about scallops and seafood, if it's fresh and nice,
Yeah.
you don't have to do too much with it, and you don't want to cook it too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just going to be a quick sear.
You're a highly awarded chef. Is there a one secret to cooking that we should all know about?
Fresh,
Yeah,
super fresh,
yeah,
local,
yeah.
and don't do too much of it. Simple. I've just seared those, like. You gave me that look, you gave me that
No,
sideways
mate.
look. It's true, it's true.
This will sound weird. I wish it could be inside my mouth. You'd need a raincoat on, right? Because it's going like this. It's just it's pouring. It's pouring in here. It was lobster sashimi in a lime something or other. Scallops on a bed of apple and fennel and so this is literally 45, maybe 50 minutes old. Probably took less than 10 minutes to cook. And just for the... Oh, just embarrassingly good and fresh and rude to talk with your mouth full. I know, but there's no other thing to do. So, you know what you have to do now, right? Get on it! Crayfishing. There's nothing passive about it. Get amongst it and pretend to work for your lunch. So I hope you've enjoyed the southwest of Western Australia. I actually thought I'd like the north more, and I can't decide whether I like that or this. This is just so diverse. We start in a pink lake, and then we finish in a yellow, sanded, petrified forest that everyone agrees is absolutely beautiful, but no one can quite agree on how it came to be. Interesting. Maybe you should leave me here, and I'll think about that and Subaru's next Great Australian Detour.